What I've found at Highpoint is a spirit of generosity. It's the people that I think makes all the difference in the world.
The thing that I like is that they're super open to where you want to go and what you want to find out, and that it's about whatever adventure we're going to go down in making stuff.
And you have the validation that comes with having people think that what you're doing is important. To have people help realize your creative vision, I can't think of anything that compares to it except being treated like a queen.
Cole is just a fountain of knowledge, and he's always willing to help you out if you have some problems.
One of the very first reasons why I became interested in starting a studio was a place where my students and other students and people could practice printmaking. I absolutely loved the communal atmosphere, the fact that you would be in there working, sharing facilities, you would pull a print, somebody else would be in the space, they would take a look at it, you would see what they were doing, you could share ideas, and that's something that I thought was important, and I thought it was something that most printmakers felt was important. And so I talked to a lot of colleagues, and everybody thought it was a great idea, and we all sat around and pounded our fists on the table and drank beer and said somebody needs to start it. But it wasn't until I met Carla and she added the other programming that made a lot of sense.
We met teaching a printmaking class at the Walker Art Center, and I was employed by the Walker at the time, and Cole was teaching at the Minneapolis College of Art and Design.
I was working very hard to instill the love of printmaking in my students, and they didn't have anywhere to go when they graduated, which is problematic because you're teaching people who are taking on extraordinary student loan debt for a medium that they have difficulty continuing to practice. And it felt like someone needed to start a studio where people could practice printmaking.
And I said, well, I might be interested in doing this really risky thing if we could have programs for kids. And I think your first reaction might have been, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I went home and it's like, well, of course. It's like an epiphany. It's like, where's the future coming from? We wanted to communicate our love for printmaking to as much of the population as we could.
Our program mix at Highpoint, we like to call it the three-legged stool. So the education community programs is one part of that. Another chunk is the Artist Access Program. And the third major part of what we do is have our master printer who works with artists that are invited and to work with in a collaborative relationship to create new works on paper.
We try and keep a very balanced program as far as who we publish. If you look at the work that we publish, there's not much of a style. In fact, it's my hope that there's never a style or look. We have a range of work. It is very artist-driven, and we like to give them as many tools as possible when they come in.
I don't come in with a preset idea of what it is that I think I want to do. I come in and really ask the question, what's possible?
There's a level of technical excellence here, so I can really focus on just the parts that I enjoy doing and really leave the details to the master.
Cole tries to get in your brain and help you figure out what it is that you want to do, where you want to get to. It's all about like facilitating things to make your art and make it better. So that it's a lot of love, really.
In my experience, printmakers are pretty sharing people. There aren't really that many trade secrets. If we find out how to do something and someone's excited by it, we're more than willing to share how to do that, to talk shop, as it were. And a print shop such as Highpoint is awesome for that.
The co-op is pretty much so the heart of the studio, at least a major part of it.
Currently, we're at about almost 50 artists that are using the co-op. The age range is amazing. People, you can join the co-op if you're 18 or older. There's no aesthetic judgment about your portfolio that you show to our shop manager. It's just that we can know you could work safely in one form of printmaking on your own.
Printmaking can be a very cost-prohibitive endeavor for one to undertake on their own. So to have access to this space and this level and quality of equipment, as well as the expertise and sharing of ideas and techniques that exists amongst our print shop community, is pretty incredible.
It's not very often that you see a professional shop anywhere, much less something on this scale. All the equipment is top-notch, brand new tech, presses, rollers, big stone library.
I had taken a lot of printmaking in college and did graduate work in printmaking, lithography specifically. And I was invited to an opening here after the studio had been here for about a year. And then I couldn't, my kids are grown up, I can be a lithographer again.
I would think of Highpoint for some of our long-term members, those who've been here 15 plus years now. The print shop is kind of like a second home. It's like a refuge of sorts. It's where they go every day and they see the same people. They'll go out to lunch with those people. It really is a community in that way.
The community part of what we do was a major motivating factor in creating a space that would be welcoming for all people. Just even if a visitor that just wants to drop by the gallery. They don't really need to know anything about how a print is made except to come and enjoy what's on the walls.
Our gallery program has become very, very important. We realize very quickly that's the public face, and we can really present a lot of wonderful shows that give people an idea of what prints are all about.
The range of educational and community programs that we offer at Highpoint is pretty broad. Right now, because of our funding and our support for our education programs, we're serving about 5,000 young people a year through that program. And 75% of them come for free. But they come in and really get to dig into printmaking. They're taught and mentored by printmaker educators. They use good materials, good inks, good paper, a real press.
When they wake up in the morning, those kids have no idea where they're going. They know that they're going on a field trip, but they don't really know what's in store. And by the time they're finished, they've got a print, they've got a little block that they take home, and they get to share it with their family. And it's an experience they're going to remember the rest of their life.
Another part of the education program includes a very dedicated program for teens.
It's different than a lot of our programming in that we get them for the whole semester. So I love getting to know them and getting to work one-on-one with them and help them develop this more long-term project. Teens can be kind of aloof, especially when starting out, and they don't want to reveal too much. And I've seen a lot at the press when they pull their print, like they kind of glow and they're excited and they'll smile, even just for a little bit. You get a glimpse of that, and then throughout the program, as they get more comfortable in the space and with the process, you see that more.
The teen program offers 5 teens in the fall and 5 teens in the spring, about 80 hours of mentorship. Then the whole group is gathered together for a show on our galleries.
Well, a lot of them haven't had experience in showing in a gallery, especially something outside of their high school classroom walls. I think a big part of the takeaway is getting to be a part of that process of hanging something in a professional gallery. They get a show with it. I think there's a big sense of accomplishment and the sense that they can do this.
I like coming in here, and I like seeing the kids that come in and all the people that have worked here and various people that have filtered through the years.
A lot of us, the members, are the regular daytime people, are people like my age, who are retired. And it's fun to see the kids. I mean, I'm a grandma of a 4-year-old, and I see these little kids. I love it. And they really get it. They get into it.
When the kids come through and they see adults working, when they see that they're using the same equipment, they're in the space, they see all the work on the walls, they see art isn't made in a vacuum, that the work that gets into museums comes from people, not unlike them. And when we have the professional artists, they absolutely love seeing bunches of kids tromping through here, and they realize that they're giving back, and they are part of a bigger conversation.
This place, what Cole and Carla produced, is no longer just serving for the artist, serving to the human beings. So when this was established, I told to both of them, this isn't just a printmaking side, it's a people-making side. And that is another incredible endeavor they have been doing. It's not just the idea of art, but the idea of sharing and caring each other.